Mattia Binotto is one of the most good-looking important people in F1 racing who doesn't have a job right now. With his latest moves, it looks like he might get a new job soon. Audi is having trouble with their 2026 car engine, and Binotto is really good with engines and building cars. It would make perfect sense if this deal happened, especially after Audi's latest moves about picking their drivers. Could we see Binotto running an F1 team again? And more importantly, can he prove that Ferrari's problems weren't all his fault when he was in charge? Mattia Binotto is one of the most experienced former team bosses in the sport, but it seems like he doesn't want to sit around doing nothing for too long. After Binotto quit his job in 2022, Ferrari made him stay away from other teams for 12 months so he couldn't join anyone until the 2024 season. This makes even more sense for Audi to try to get him for their racing starting in 2026. The German team is joining the sport with their own engine program. From what we hear, they're having trouble keeping up with the other teams because they don't know enough about this stuff, something that Binotto would be super helpful with. But time at Ferrari was like a crazy roller coaster ride. Ever since the team won 2 out of the first 3 races in 2022, with Leclerc getting his first wins in Singapore 2019 and Leclerc having a 46-point lead over Verstappen after Australia, people hoped that the Italian team finally had what it takes to bring the championship back home to Italy. But a bunch of mistakes happened, different kinds of problems. First, the car kept breaking down. Then the people made bad choices like poor race strategies at Silverstone 2022. This made Leclerc really upset, and he was supposed to be Ferrari's next champion. The former team boss of Ferrari had a special way of running things. This might have caused big problems that led to his leaving. He never wanted to blame any specific group that was doing badly in their job. For everything that went wrong with the team, Binotto took all the blame, saying that through good times and bad times, it's all the team's fault. This kind of helped cause the downfall of the Swiss engineer who had been part of Ferrari since 1998 and worked his way up to become team boss. But the Italian team got tired of making excuses and thought they could do better with Fred Vasseur right away in 2023. We saw that the problem wasn't completely Binotto's fault because the other groups kept making their mistakes. And to make things worse, Ferrari lost second place in the team championship to Mercedes. This makes us wonder if they're really in a better place now. But that's not Binotto's problem anymore. What he needs to worry about is getting a team to lead starting in 2026 so far. That team looks like it's Audi. The German newcomer is still looking not only for team bosses but for drivers too. With Binotto having lots of experience in building cars, he would be the right guy to lead the project. We all remember how Steiner praised the 2023 Ferrari engine, saying it was like a rocket ship and that Binotto did a great job building it. Even though he quit a couple of months before they showed off the car, Ferrari still turned out to be one of the most competitive teams against Red Bull when it came to engine power. This is definitely thanks to Binotto's work. He said he didn't want to leave Ferrari with an unfinished car for 2023. This might be one of the most convincing reasons that Audi could use to sign the Swiss engineer. Rumors have also come out about Alpine and McLaren teams that went in different directions with their choices, leaving Audi more room to talk with Binotto after the German team said no to the rumors that Binotto visited their project in Nürburgring and called it a silly operation. It made the case of Mattia joining Audi even more interesting. When talking about this topic more, a famous Italian news source close to Ferrari called Formula Uno wrote about the current level of engine engineers. Audi seems to be struggling more than their rivals. Some sources keep reporting that they're finding it hard to get the best engineering minds. Mattia Binotto is definitely one of Audi's targets to fill this job. However, the former Ferrari team boss would also have several other choices. With Audi finally deciding to enter the sport late in 2023, they have been aggressively stealing staff, bringing over 50 tech experts. Most of this number comes from F1 teams that already exist. This is something that Adam Baker, the CEO of Audi Formula Racing, talked about. He said about hiring people, "What we need to understand is that Formula One project for Audi Sport here in Nürburgring, it's an important change project. This means we benefited from taking around 200 highly skilled staff from within Audi Sport into Formula One. So this is obviously a huge boost for our starting phase here in the region. We also have access to literally thousands of experts who work in the car industry here, working for Audi or for suppliers. But to make sure we will be competitive in 2026, we want to speed up our learning phase as much as possible. Part of that plan is an aggressive hiring program. So far we've hired around 50 technical experts to join us here, including some from our competitors. Now when it comes to leading a team, one of these experts has the skills of Binotto. It doesn't matter whether or not the fans liked how he led Ferrari in the years he did. After all, Binotto might have learned from his mistakes. Taking all the blame is not always the way to go when something isn't right in the team. Asking for more responsibility in certain areas could be the right thing to do when things get messy. The leadership of Audi, which includes former co-workers of Binotto like Andrea Seidel and James Key, will definitely have a high opinion of the Swiss engineer if the topic comes up for discussion. From official reports, it has been talked about more than once to bring him to ruin Audi. This might be one of the reasons why the German team is actively trying to get Sainz as one of the starting drivers from 2026 onwards. Because if you remember correctly, it wasn't the Spanish driver who was upset in 2022 when things didn't go his way. It was his teammate Leclerc. Especially after Silverstone onwards, Leclerc refused to comment on Binotto leaving before it happened, saying it's not something he wants to get involved in. But all things considered, it was generally known that the Monaco driver didn't like where the team was going under Binotto's leadership. Don't make things worse. Ferrari is now focusing on a deal with Leclerc, a long-term one that would keep him with the team until 2029. While reports say they are giving Sainz an ultimatum to win 4 races with Ferrari in 2024 if he wants to get the contract with them from 2025 onwards. Even though Sainz has proven to be a genius driver on many occasions, Singapore 2023 being the latest one, it might not seem like enough for Ferrari to appreciate his efforts. With the close relationship that his father has with Audi after winning the Rally Dakar Championship with the German team, this scenario is not that far-fetched after all. In that case, a reunion between Binotto and Sainz could be the most likely outcome for Audi from 2026 onwards. That way, the team would get exactly what they wanted: experienced people both in the team boss and driver roles. They're looking to boost their development and make sure they are not the slowest when 2026 comes around. The threat of this happening is quite big considering that Andretti is very close to entering the sport in 2025. With the massive investment coming from American companies as well as Cadillac, Audi will have a lot to prove to the F1 world, especially with the burden of having their own engine program. Another huge factor is that not just Audi but all the other teams will need a lot of experienced minds for the new rules in 2026, the project that has been put on hold regarding the aerodynamic era until 2025. So Binotto's services will definitely come even more in handy than we could expect. While he was barely involved in the 2023 car for Ferrari, and with the gardening leave he was not able to work directly on any project for any other team for another 12 months. Being in the sport ever since 1998 does give you a lot of benefits you can carry with yourself. When showing your profile to an F1 team, experience is something that will matter the most now, as we saw with Adrian Newey's design of the ground effect floor in Red Bull, something that he presented back in the 1980s when it was banned due to safety reasons, and something that the rest of the grid is still confused about. How did the Austrian team manage to build such a competitive version of a car? With this in mind, Binotto will have a lot to prove to the world. His main mission is that he must convince Audi that not everything that went wrong at Ferrari was his fault, and more importantly, that he learned from his mistakes and now knows how to combine engineering and management skills into one. Do you think Binotto is the perfect team principal for Audi? Let us know in the comments below.